I think the big turning point for us was coming to the Star Center, most definitely. I remember, even though the first week was difficult, it was small things that, like, I wouldn't even think. I remember when I would meet with Dr. On, like, changes I could make while playing with him, and I'm like, it's so small, it's not going to make a difference, but it does. It makes a huge difference. And I remember them saying, well, we're going to help you learn to play with your son. And I'm like, well, gosh, I'm a failure. Like, I don't know how to play with my kid. That's horrible. And it was a different kind of play than I think most people do with their children, but it worked. And I remember, I think the biggest turning point for me was, and it sounds so silly, but my son everyone used to complain about their kids, like their rooms being messes and the living room being a mess, and ours was always clean. Because Santi never opened drawers to find new toys. He kind of just kept to himself. He liked his letters, but he never played with toys. And I remember we finished our program at the Star Center and we went home. And it was like the dumbest thing. So people were like, I don't know why that's a big deal. But for, I think, a mom going through this process, we went home and that was the first night our living room was a mess. Like, he had opened every drawer and had toys out. And it was just such a mess. And for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's playing with toys. Like, and at the time, he still wasn't including me. Like, he was just playing, but I didn't care. I was like, my room's a mess, and I've never been more grateful to have to clean up in my life. Like, this is a big deal for him. Like, he's exploring, and he's not anxious, and he's not throwing a tantrum, and he still was in, like, his own little element, but he, I don't know, was, like, actually, like, exploring with happiness, and he was smiling, and I remember being like, oh my gosh, I never thought that I would want this messy room that everyone complains about, but I'm just so grateful for it. Like, this is incredible. And now, a year later, he wants to play all day. Like, I'll be cooking. Mommy, stop cooking, come play. Mommy, play puzzle. Mommy, play dinosaurs. And, like, it went from, like, him learning to play on his own to me trying to implement everything we learned here to now, like, he hates playing by himself and he wants to include me in everything. And it's so much happiness. But I just remember that day of coming home and it being a mess. And I think I'll always remember that day as, like, this huge milestone in our life of, like, there's hope. We're gonna get through this, and he's gonna, like, strive as a child and do well. And I think we really stuck to that for the first 6 months, maybe, of implementing everything we were taught how to play with him. And then now, as the time's gone by, like, I don't think people would notice a difference in the way we play because we've kind of been able to cut back as he's progressed and learned. But I remember thinking, this is the silliest course ever. What are we going to learn? And it worked because, I mean, now he loves to play and he's happy and he smiles all day. And I mean, we don't tantrum like we ever did. But I think that was my big turning point of being like, it's working. It's really working.